What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Moon and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Moon Hardcore Nuzlocke using only Totem Shiny. So it's gonna be an interesting challenge video. So I'm actually surprised I didn't do this video before, but do a Hardcore Nuzlocke, but the only available Pokemon for us to capture and use on our team will be Pokemon that are Totem Pokemon in their actual game. So on screen right now are all the Totem lists, kinda. I don't know why they miss Wishy-Washy, but I don't know what Bulbapedia they're doing, but Wishy-Washy is included with this, and we're not going to use the Ultra Sun and Moon totems, so we're actually making it harder for ourselves. So cross those totems out, as these are the only available Pokemon for us to use, and it's going to be pretty fun. So on screen right now are the rules for this challenge video. It's going to be a Hardcore Nuzlocke. We can only catch the very first Pokemon in each route. They must be a Totem Pokemon or evolve into a Totem Pokemon eventually, and Totem Pokemon can vary between version exclusives. I think there's only one version exclusive Totem, so we should be fine on that. I chose Moon because I don't know, I just like Moon, I guess. I don't know, we've done Sun so much that Moon is something new. On top of that, each of my Pokemon only has one life, so they ever faint, they are dead. Can't use them ever again. On top of that, there's gonna be a level cap. There's only 5 level caps in the entire game, 4 Kahunas and also the Elite 4 level cap, so just keep in mind of that. The trials are not level cap. On top of that, we can't use items inside of battle, and we have to play on set mode, so it's pretty difficult, not gonna lie. From there, there's actually a fun rule on top of this, so each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a comment in my previous challenge video. If you want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon, just drop in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. And while you're down there, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. So to begin off, our first challenge is actually just play through the first part of the game and then catch yourselves a shiny Pokemon in Route 1. So we're gonna start shiny hunting in Route 1. There's a few Pokemon you can get, even though it's a little bit sunset. We want to catch ourselves a shiny. We want to catch ourselves a first Pokemon, which is gonna be a shiny Yungoos, which is like most of the time. So we're gonna catch ourselves a Yungoos. We could have got Grubman in here, and I don't think we could. We could technically get a Rattata, but it's not nighttime fully. So from there, we could go out into Howley City. From there, we start shiny hunting out here and finally get ourselves the shiny Rattata. We catch ourselves a shiny Rattata, add it to our team, which is gonna be pretty nice. We have 2 Pokemon. As we move on, we're gonna move on to some item collecting, and it just dawned on me that the first Kahuna is gonna be a fighting type Kahuna, so we gotta be very careful. We gotta assist the Citrus Berry and also the Silk Scarf, so it's gonna be, we're gonna be very like cutting it close as we face off against the first Totem in the game, which actually crashes my game, and I'm like, what do I do here? Where was my last save? We get back to where we were and we face up against the Totem Raticate. I was trying out Echo Voice and it wasn't doing a lot of damage, so yeah, not using Echo Voice ever again on Yungoos. As from there, we cleared through the first trial in the game. We're gonna face up against Hala, the first Kahuna in the game, and Hala was a lot more difficult. We're actually gonna use Z moves against him, so we're gonna break down Blitz against the Mankey, and the Mankey outspeeds me and almost one-shot me anyways, so we knock out the Mankey at least, and then from there, fortunately, it goes out to the Crab Brawler, and then Z moves into my Yungoos, and I'm like, okay, so that's dead. I go out to my Rattata next, and Rattata, we get a Sand Attack earlier off against the Crab Brawler, but Hyper Fang's not gonna matter as it one-shots me, so we lose the battle instantly. We gotta restart. So from there, once we restart it, we can go out and just change the time. Make sure we get ourselves a shiny Grubman, because that Grubman's the only thing we could have used against him. Then finally face off against Hala using Grubman and Rattata. We actually could have got a Yungoos, but I forgot about it. As we face up against Hala next, Grubman's gonna start the battle off against the Mankey. We're gonna Mud Slap into the Mankey twice and then force him to miss a few moves. And from there, we could chip him down with Vice Grip as we're able to beat down the Mankey. Get ourselves into level 16 with the XP. Get ourselves Spark and also Hyper Fang. So we actually take that really nicely. From there, I can Spark into the Malkuta and paralyze it, get it paralyzed, and then get Sand Attack, which is kind of annoying. But from there, I knock on the Malkuta, and then from there, Hala's gonna switch out into his Crab Brawler, which is gonna try to pursue me. It's kind of annoying. I do have the Citrus Berry on. It actually goes for a Z move and almost knocks me out, which is kind of annoying. And lucky enough, I did paralyze it and go for Mud Slaps against him. And then from there, I'm trying to risk it. I'm like, hopefully this is the turn it gets paralyzed, or it doesn't go for pursuit. And then lucky enough, it gets paralyzed as I mean to switch out into my Rattata. I know Rattata is able to survive anything. It's not gonna go for power punches against my Grubman. We're able to break that Blitz and knock out the Crab Brawler for us, as we survive Hala without losing a Pokemon for once. So you know what, we'll take that. As from there, we're gonna go back into Route 2 and then start shiny hunting for a shiny Yungoos, of course. We finally remember to get that thing, and then evolve our Rattata into Eradicate, and then evolve our Yungoos into a Gumshoes, which is pretty nice. We face up against a rival, which is really annoying because Eradicate has Hustle and it can miss any move at any point, so it's really annoying. We evolve our Grubman into a Charge Bug, and can stay like that for a very long time. So lucky enough, at least Charger Bug is good enough for this part of the games as we face off against the Totem Wishy-Washy. This Totem Wishy-Washy is giving me the water trial as we're ready to spark into him, and we actually almost died to him, so that's kind of bad. Lucky enough, Raticate's able to break that blitz and knock him out. We're using Z moves for once, which is kind of a nice, refreshing take on this. Honestly, we face off against the totems. They give us the Z crystals, so you know what? Why not actually incorporate that into the challenge? So it's kind of fun to use as we beat down the water trial with my Raticate. And honestly, against the battle royale, does this count if you lose a Pokemon? Obviously, I don't lose a Pokemon here, but if you do, does that count? Because technically you don't lose a Pokemon. A Pokemon does faint though. Anyways, I'm just stalling for time as we make our way into the west of Volcano Peak, and we start shiny hunting out here for one of the most annoying shiny Pokemon. I'm only saying this because I got a shiny Salandit. However, I'm gonna ask you, what is wrong with this picture? And I was like, does this count? Because it doesn't evolve into Salazzle, so it's not really a totem potential. But I'm like, I think people would get mad at that, so I'm just going to catch it, add it to my team, and just suck it up. I want to use Salazzle. Salazzle is like one of the two Pokemon I really wanted to use, and then I couldn't use it because, for some reason, it's a gender evolution. And also, it's rarer to find the gender evolution. It's like Combi situation. But anyways, from there, we're also going to catch a shiny Wishy-Washy, which I'm like, why is it not in the schooling mode? I swear I learned that the ability for schooling is actually only active when you're actually at level 20. So I don't know why that's made like that, but that's how it works. Anyways, from there we can use our Totem Wishy-Washy to clear through the fire trial pretty easily as we have Scald and also the Mystic Water. So nothing's really gonna attack us at all. So we're face up against the Totem Salazzle. Something I wanted to use, but unfortunately we actually luckily just one-shot it, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. From there, we're going to face off against the grass trial in the game. We're going to use our Salandit against the grass trial. We're actually going to flame charge into it in the Inferno Overdrive and then knock him out in the following turn as we beat down the Lurantis. And then from there, I could just chip down Trumbeak, eventually Dragon Rage into him and knock him out. And my Salandit survives. It actually did something for us. As from there, we're going to start shiny hunting in the Lush Jungle. The Lush Jungle is pretty easy as we're able to just shiny hunt for a Fermantis. One of the common encounters in this. We find ourselves a Fermantis. We're going to add it to our team, which is nice. And then from there, we can move on and face off against Olivia. Olivia's giving me the Rock type Kahuna. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Fermantis. So Fermantis is able to face off against her Nosepass. We're able to go for a Leaf Blade against him. We can take a Thunder Wave, which is annoying, but eventually we're able to knock out the Nosepass. It's going to chip me down. It's kind of annoying, but eventually we knock him out. There we go. There we go. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Boldor, which I don't want to risk and then lose my Fermantis. So I go out into my Wishy-Washy, which was Scald, and then two-shot into him. And then final Pokemon will be a Lycanroc, which I get a Scald off and one-shot it. It doesn't go for a Z move, as we're to beat down the Lycanroc and then beat down Olivia easily. We face off against the Nihilego, which we kind of just cleared through pretty easily. We also face up against a rival, play him down pretty easily as well. And then from there, we go into Molly C's Poke Center and the Pokemart in here. So we have to get ourselves the TM for a lot of good stuff. So U-Turn, Bodo, Swords Dance, all the good stuff over here. I also evolve our Fermantis into our Lurantis, so that's nice to have as we move on and face off against Electric Trial in the game, which honestly, Salandit should not have this much work. I think it's putting in more work than Gumshoes, I'm not gonna lie, as Charge Bug's also not that useful after. Actually, it wasn't even useful against the Water Trial. It actually had to be switched out. So Salandit actually goes for Inferno Overdrive and knock out the Totem Bigavo as well. So we're able to knock him out. As from there, we're able to knock out the Charge Bug as well. Clear through the Electric Trial, and then Salandit gets another win on his belt, which is kind of crazy. So imagine if it was Salazzle, it would have been crazy good. I was talking too much trash against the Gumshoes, and Gumshoes actually beat Guzma for us, so we'll take that as we move on. As we face off against the Mimikyu Totem, Mimikyu Totem is going to be really annoying, so I use my Gumshoe as bait. We can try to weaken its speed, which works out, as we're able to Rock Him into the Mimikyu, and then from there, you can spawn the Haunter, which is kind of annoying. Hopefully it doesn't go for like a Hypnosis, as it goes for Sucker Punch and then play rough me and then knocks on my Gumshoes, and that was a very quick death. So from there I go out to my Wishy-Washy, which unfortunately gets put to sleep. So I'm like, oh, that's not great. So unfortunately from there I'm gonna lose my Wishy-Washy if I'm not careful. So I go out to my Salandit. I gotta sack my Salandit, which is unfortunate, but do some chip damage and then get a free switch in. I switch into my Lurantis. Lurantis is able to go for a Leaf Blade and then chip down the Mimikyu for us. And then eventually I survive a play rough with my Lurantis and then Leaf Blade to knock on the Mimikyu. We survive against him. So we lose 2 Pokemon in the process, which is really annoying. So that's 2 deaths on death counter just for Mimikyu, but lucky enough we beat the Mimikyu totem. That means we can start shiny hunting out here in the Thrift Mart. So we can start shiny hunting out here. Lorenz is really awful. Like, Lorenz's speed is so abysmal. Like, I had the Sword Sense up against the Golbat and eventually knock him out. So from there we can start shiny hunting out here, and then finally find ourselves a shiny Mimikyu out here. Obviously we'll take. We're gonna catch it with a quick ball, add it to our team, and Mimikyu is gonna be the greatest Pokemon on my team. So from there we're gonna use Mimikyu and just sweep down Guzma pretty easily. Then we're gonna face off against the next Kahuna in the game. We're gonna face off against Nanu next. Nanu's giving me the Dark Step Kahuna. We're gonna start the battle off against him using my Mimikyu. Mimikyu is able to go for Sword Sense in front of the Sableye, which Shadow Balls me. It does a lot of damage, I'm not gonna lie, so I gotta go for a Shadow Claw. Lucky enough, it one-shots the Sableye, and then from there, his next one will be a Krokorok, which I added Facade on my Mimikyu just for this, so I'm able to Facade and two-shot into the Krokorok. As from there, he's gonna start healing up. I heals up one time, and the Shadow Sneak to knock him out. As the next one will be a Persian. A Alolan Persian will go for a Z Dark. I got a 2 on my Alolan Raticate. I thought it was Z Ghost for a second, but either way, it didn't matter, as my Raticate is able to survive it pretty easily. So from there, I could go for a Hyper Fang and then Breakneck Blitz to knock him out. So yeah, Raticate's doing a lot of work as well, as we did knock him out. So I'm like, what? Why didn't we knock him out? I was actually afraid that it would have healed up again, but I'm pretty sure it didn't have another heal. As I'm going to Sucker Punch and knock out the Persian, and we beat down Nanu, and then the level cap jumps up to 48 at this point. From there, we can move on into the Aether Foundation and face up against all the Aether Foundation grunts, and then face up against Guzma as well. We get Play Rough, which is actually the most important thing for us. So we have Play Rough on our team as well, and then face up against Lucamine. You can see how many times Mimikyu is going to sweep down everything. Mimikyu is just really broken. It has a free hit, so it's a free setup and just sweep. So it's pretty broken. From there, we can face off against all the Team Skull grunts left over, clear through them pretty easily, and then evolve our Charger Bug with a rare candy to a Vikavolt. Finally evolve that thing. It's been like hours at this point. From there, we can move on and face off against Hapu next. Hapu is going to be the final Kahuna in the game. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Wishy-Washy. We can go for a Scald with my Wishy-Washy, which is actually really fun. I really love Wishy-Washy, but I just never been able to use him properly. So it's really fun to use, as we beat down the Dugtrio in one shot. Beat down the Mudsdale in one shot as well, as her next opponent will be a Flygon. It does a lot of damage, I'm not gonna lie, but we do a lot more. So eventually we're able to Skull down and knock out the Flygon, and then actually go into our Schooling form. So we go to the Single form, so we gotta switch out because it's kind of dangerous. But we got to Lurantis. Lurantis is easily able to Leaf Blade and knock out the Gastrodon for us, as we're able to beat down Hapu and clear through Hapu, the final Grand Trial in the game. As we're gonna move on, we're gonna make our way into the final Totem fight in the game, as we clear through all the trainers in here, because Lily is gonna heal up her Pokemon eventually. So we cleared through all the trainers in here, and then go back and start shiny hunting in the wild over here. And honestly, it took a long time. This is probably the worst shiny hunting I've ever done, because it took so long. I don't know why I did this. Found ourselves a shiny Jangmo, and then we're gonna catch it, add it to our team, and then we don't have to shiny hunt anymore. So that thing is so annoying. It better be worth it, as we evolve the Jangmo into a Hackmo, and evolve the Hackmo into a Como. So all the O's are on our team, as we're going to move on and face off against the final Totem fight in the game. We're going to face off against the Totem Como, as we're going to use my Mimikyu against, and Play Rough didn't kill him one shot, surprisingly, as he goes for Flash Cannon. So he's going to break my disguise and then spawn a Scizor as well. I'm like, what? Yeah, let's relax over here. Shadow Sneak to knock out the Como, as the Scizor is left over, as I go to my Vikavolt. Vikavolt's easily able to knock out the Scizor for us, as we clear through the final trial in the game. And then from there, we can move on and face off against Lucamine. Lucamine's gonna be a pretty hard boss fight, as we start the battle off against her using my Mimikyu. Mimikyu is able to go for a Sword Dance, actually 3 Sword Dance against the Metronome and Clefable, as it finally breaks my disguise, but we're able to Shadow Claw and knock him out. From there, the battle is pretty much over, as the fight is difficult normally if you don't have a really good Pokemon to set up against, but Miss Magius goes down in one shot, and also we get Elite Seeded by the Lilligant, as we're able to Shadow Claw and knock him out as well. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Maltic, as we're able to Shadow Claw, one shot that thing, and then from there, her final Pokemon will be a Beaver. It goes for Baby Doll Eyes. It weakens my attack stat, but I'm able to go for Play Rough twice to knock him out, as we beat down Lucamine. And this funny, look at this funny interaction. I left my game running for a little bit as I go out to do something, and this is them just looking back and forth for hours. And then we can face off against Gladion and Hala next. Pretty easy fights, and we also teach our Pokemon some new moves in the Pokemon Relearner. And then from there, we're going to move on into the Pokemon League, do our final preparations, teach ourselves some new moves, and then face off against the Elite Four themselves. Our first Elite Four challenge is going to be Hala. Hala's going to be the fighting type Elite Four member, and It's not really much of a challenge as I use my Mimikyu to use Sword Stance in front of the Hariyama, and then from there I go for a Play Rough, I believe. Yeah, I go for a Play Rough, one shot the Hariyama, and luckily enough I didn't miss a single Play Rough this entire run, so ready to Play Rough into the Crab Bottom Bowl as well, Play Rough into the Poliwrath, and then from there his next opponent will be the Primate, that Mankey earlier that killed my young goose in my first attempt. Play Rough into the Primate, and then finally the Beware comes out. I'm going to Play Rough twice into him, take a Brutal Swing, and then from there Play Rough again, knock him out. So we're going to beat down Hala pretty easily. We want to get sweeps on all of them, so we're going to actually switch it up. We're going to face up against Olivia next using my Lurantis. I really want to sweep her using my Lurantis, but it didn't work out that way as we're able to go for a Sword Stance. We get put to sleep by the Relicanth, which is unfortunate, but we're going to wake up and then Leaf Blade to knock him out. We should have Leaf Blade on the first turn, and then from there force out the Golem and then knock him down. So unfortunately I'm gonna go for a Synthesis against the Golem and then trying to trap myself in here. So eventually I'm forced to just Leaf Blade into the Golem to knock him out, and then from there it's gonna switch out into a Lycanroc, which I thought for some reason I outspeed, but again Lurantis has 0 speed, so it gets outspeeded and then Continental Crush and then killed. So I'm like, well, I'm just an idiot. So anyways, I go out to my Como, and Como is able to go for a Dragon Dance and then just knock him out eventually with a Brick Break. As the next Pokemon will be a Carbink, which I go out into my Wishy Washy. I take a Moonblast pretty easily and then 2-shot him into, oh, it lowers my special attack, never mind. So I gotta go to my Vikavolt. Vikavolt is able to go for a Charge Beam into a Thunderbolt to knock out the Carbink, and then from there her next Pokemon and final Pokemon will be a Probopass. I go for a Thunderbolt to break the sturdy at least. It started using Sandstorm, and then I go out to my Como. I take a Power Gym and then Brick Break to knock him out as we're ready to beat down Olivia. Unfortunately we lose a Pokemon in the process because me just goofing around, but anyways we're gonna move on and face off against Accelera next. Accelera is gonna be a really easy fight. I wanted my Raticate to get a sweep up, so I'm gonna use my Raticate to start the battle. Unfortunately the Sableye is gonna go for a Confuse Ray and Fake Out, so super annoying combo as I go for a Sword Stance and then hopefully don't hit myself. I just hit myself on the first 50-50, so it's gonna look pretty bad for us. I'm like, I can't switch out. Raticate gotta get the sweep, so I go for a Crunch. Crunch lands, knock out the Sableye though, but that's not the biggest worry. Oh, I didn't even knock him out, so this is looking pretty bad for us. I go for a second Sword Stance and then go for a Crunch to knock him out as I break through Confusion, and then from there her next opponent will be a Frostlass, which I assume is going to attack me. I assume wrong. It went for Confuse Ray, so I'm confused once again, and I went for Sucker Punch. Lucky enough, it breaks through Confusion and knocks out the Frostlass. I'm like, okay, this is working. From there her next opponent will be From there, next Pokemon will be a Delmise, which I'm like, okay, just gotta break through Confusion and go for a Crunch, and lucky enough it does. Crunch lands, I'm able to knock out the Delmise. As the next Pokemon will be a Palossand, which I go for a Crunch again, break through Confusion, we break through it, we killed the Palossand. As the final Pokemon will be a Drifblim, and I break through it, snap out of Confusion actually, Crunched and knock out a Drifblim, take the Aftermath like a champ, and Raticate actually swept something, so we take that. From there, we're gonna move on and face off against Kahili next, the final Elite Four member. We're gonna start the battle off against her using my Vikavolt, and you know how this is gonna go. Vikavolt can go for Charge Beam, doesn't get the boost, which is kind of annoying, so I gotta go for Agility as it actually heals up her Pokemon. From there, I go for a Charge Beam. I miss Charge Beam again, get him down to low HP. Charge Beam again, do not get the special attack boost, which is so annoying. So I gotta go for Agility, as I know I survive one more slash if it's not a crit. And then from there, I gotta go for Charge Beam and don't get another special attack boost. So I think I only got one special attack boost, but that should be fine. As we're ready to Thunderbolt into the Manabus and knock him out. From there, her next Pokemon will be a Toucannon, which I'm ready to Thunderbolt once again, knock him out in one shot. Her next Pokemon will be a Oricorio, which actually I don't know what I was worried about, so I just got Thunderbolt and knock him out in one shot. Her final Pokemon will be a Crobat. I can outspeed with the 3 Agility, which is actually surprising because Vikavolt is like no speed at all, but we're ready to knock out the Crobat as we're ready to beat down Kahili, and now we can move on and face off against the final Elite Four member in the game. We're gonna face off against Professor Kukui next. Kukui is gonna be a little annoying, but we're gonna start the battle off against him using my Como, and that is the end of the battle. So I go for Dragon Dance against him. I go for I think 3 or 4 Dragon Dances. I think 3. Yeah, 3 Dragon Dances, and then from there, Brick Break to one-shot the Lycanroc. His next Pokemon will be a Primarina, which I prepped for this. Poison Jab to knock him out in one shot. As the next Pokemon will be a Hello Ninetales, I one-shot it with Poison Jab. And then from there, his next Pokemon after that will be a Braviary, which I go for Dragon Claw and knock out in one shot. His next Pokemon after that will be a Magnezone, which I do go for Dragon Claw to break the sturdy. He's gonna go for Thunder Wave, but I know I can outspeed. Hopefully I don't get paralyzed. As I don't, I'm able to Sky Uppercut and knock him out. From there, his final Pokemon will be a Snorlax, which I do go for Dragon Claw, and it does knock out, which is like terrible on my part. So lucky enough, it forced him to heal up, and I get another chance at him. I'm able to Dragon Claw and then knock him out with a crit. So we're going to beat down Snorlax and beat down Professor Kokui. And yeah, don't lose a single Pokemon. So Lurantis, we don't talk about the Lurantis incident, but we cleared through Pokemon Moon, Hardcore Nuzlocke using only Totem Pokemon. It was pretty easy after a certain point, I'm not going to lie. It was a very much a breeze. Except the shiny hunting for Jangmo. Jangmo was honestly could have done without Jangmo. Could have just swept the entire game just with Mimikyu and Wishy-Washy. That thing, those two are a broken combo, honestly. Really good Pokemon overall, but anyways, that will be the end of the video for me. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot to me. Anyways, my name is Alpha, and I hope you guys all had a great day, and I'm out. Peace.